Hey everybody. Hey Miriam, thank you for watching. Welcome to another episode of Daily Motivation, 365 Days of Consistency, doing the same things over and over again till they become habit. And I appreciate everyone taking your time to watch this. If you watch this live or watch this later, for you taking your time, I greatly appreciate it. And like the great Jay-Z said, you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate it. So today I want to talk about change. One of the hardest things for human beings to do is to change, is to shift. It's to shift mindsets. It's to shift habits. It's to shift beliefs. It's to shift from one dimension to the other. You know, some people say, hey, if I started broke and I want to be rich, that's a shift in dimension. And for you to get from broke to rich, you have to make a shift in all those things I just mentioned to get to that area. Because where you start at will hold you to a belief system that will not help you shift to where you want to go. So one of my favorite books about change is a book called Who Moved My Cheese? Who Moved My Cheese from Dr. Spencer Johnson. It's an incredible book about staying stagnant and unable to make the shift from where you are to where you want to be. And so it's very difficult for people to make a change. Even though everyone wants to change, they want their life to change, but it's hard for them to change. I think one of the quotes was, everybody wants the world to change, just not themselves. Even though we make up the world. So why is it so hard for people to make that shift, Rich? Well, one of the major reasons is we hold ourselves to our past, from where we come from how we grew up, from our economic status, what schools did we go to, who people we hung out with, what mistakes we've made. And we create that and say that that is who we are. Really, it's not who you are, it is just a summation of who you are now. Who you are now is just a summation, a total of all the things that happened in the past. But does not make you who you are. Who you are is what you're being in the present. But it has nothing to do with who you've been in the past. You can change those things. But it's hard because we hold that down. An analogy I like to look at is the caterpillar and the butterfly. So a butterfly never comes out of the cocoon, and says, man, I wish I was back in the dirt. Like, man, I can't fly. Like, I was on the ground this whole time. There's no way I can fly. So why, there's no point of even being a butterfly. And we're afraid of the judgments we get from our past. We feel that if we change, we're being fake. We're not being authentic to ourselves. But I've never seen a caterpillar look up at a butterfly like, man, look at that fake dude right there, man. He think he can fly. Caterpillars can't fly. What are you doing up there, man? You can't do that. Come back down. You can't do it up there. No. A caterpillar is just the evolution of the caterpillar. So if you're changing, you're not being fake. You're not changing who you are. You're just evolving the person you are. It's a big difference. You're not changing. You're not being fake of who you are. You're just evolving for the person that you used to be. So when you make that shift, don't hold on to the past as if that is an anchor of who you can be. All the past is, again, is a summation of who you're being, of who you are now. Now, I remember, if you ever listen to Dr. Miles Monroe, he's incredible. And he talks about Satan. He says Satan controls two things on earth. One is the media, and the second is tradition. And tradition will hold you and pigeonhole you to a certain image that you cannot break out of. So you want to be this new thing, you really do, but you're still holding on that, okay, people like me have to be a certain way. A great example of this is I was watching Inside the NBA once. It was, Shaq, Shaquille O'Neal, and Charles Barkley, Sir Chuck, and they were having banter. Obviously, they were joking about this, but there's some truth in every joke. Now, they were talking about playing checkers, And one guy's like, well, I like to play chess. And he's like, black people don't play chess. Which kind of bothered me because I'm like, I play chess. And last time I checked, unless, I had a really good tan, I was black. So what do you mean black people don't play chess? And like, no, black people just play spades. Even though I like spades, but if I had the choice, I would play chess. Why? Because it works out my mind. It's a more intellectual game. It shows you how to take 4, 5, 6 moves ahead, and it teaches you more about life. So I love playing chess. But if I was stuck to my past, I was like, well, I can't play chess. Black people don't play chess. But then it pigeonholes you to the evolution, like golf. They said some of the greatest deals are made on the golf course. Some money's made on the golf course. But then black people said, well, I don't play golf. Until Tiger Woods came and broke paradigms. It's like the man that ran the first 100 miles. He said nobody can run the 100 miles in under 15 minutes until somebody did it. Now everybody can do it. See, when you pigeonhole yourself to a past paradigm, it'll be difficult for you to make the shift over to a new mindset, to a new vision of yourself. So the best thing to do is relinquish who you think you are to move over to who you can be. See, we don't want to change because we're stuck of who we were. But who you were was who you were. It's like if you're in a book, imagine every chapter of the book was exactly the same. The character never evolved, the character never learned anything, the character never grew. Imagine Aladdin was still in the hood, right? He never found Genie, he never got with Jasmine, he just was back as a street rat. Imagine Aladdin stayed in the street rat. How boring of a story would that be? But as you see in the story, he evolves. He evolves his mindset, he evolves his belief system, he evolves of who he can be to become Sultan. It's the same type of thing. So we see it in stories, we see it in books, we see it in movies as a character evolves, and we cheer them on. But when it comes to ourselves, we say, well, I can't change. If I change, I'm being fake. I'm not being authentic. You are being authentic. You're just evolving the person of who you want to be. That's why I love this book. If you ever read this book, Who Moved My Cheese? It actually has a YouTube. If you YouTube this, it's actually a small short video about the entire book. Very small book, very small story, but it's so profound of how we pigeonholed ourselves to a certain image, to a certain belief, to a certain way of being. And then we lose out on the cheese, meaning we lose on the new opportunities. I was talking to a friend today, one of my students, and I was telling him, hey man, at the end of the year, Jazz and I are going to make our first major purchase in real estate. We're going to make our first big investment. And he said, and I told him I told him everything what we're trying to do. I don't hold back. And he said, man, that's awesome, Rich, but I'd be too scared to do that. I'd be way too scared. What if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? Because he's stuck at a certain paradigm. And every year he says, well, I'm waiting for a call for a job opportunity. And I told him, listen, at some point, you're going to have to stop waiting for the call for the job and start creating the job. That's a shift in thinking. That's a shift in mindset. That's a shift in dimensions. See, we all want the benefits and the results, but we don't want to change who we are to get those benefits and those results. So if you're stuck at where you are, if you feel that, hey, people like where I'm from don't do that, or people where I grew up don't act that way, or people where I'm from don't have these certain things, or people where I live talk this certain way. If you're stuck in that paradigm, it's time to reevaluate yourself and say, okay, if in order for me to get from here, from where I am to where I want to be, maybe there's some evolution that has to happen. I was talking to listen to T.I., one of his podcasts, and he says, when I started as Tip, I was a gangster. I was doing rough things. I was doing bad things. But in order for me to become T.I., be wealthy and help and provide for other people, I had to make a shift in mindset. I had to change who I was. That's why Tip had to die. Jay-Z had this in his first album. He listened to the 4444 album. He said, kill Jay-Z. Because he said, in order for me to be billionaire Sean Carter, I have to kill Marcy Projects, Brooklyn, Jay-Z. It's a shift in change. So when you can change, your life will change. When you can shift who you are, everything will shift. But again, if you're pigeonholing, you're holding on to this past of my old accolades and my own beliefs and my own paradigms, you'll be stuck there. And that shift will never happen. But again, you could agree with me or not agree with me. But either way, I feel this was a successful conversation. Definitely check out the book, Who Moved My Cheese. Again, I appreciate all of you. Thank you for taking your time to watch this. I hope this served you well. Please like, please share, please comment if this has touched you in any type of way where change is inevitable. It's a hard subject. Trust me. Many people will say, listen, Rich, I enjoy this talk, but I ain't changing. That's up to you. There's no person putting a gun to your head saying you have to change. But from what I've studied, from what I've learned, and in my own life, in my own journey, once I shifted, everything shifted for me. Love is love. Appreciate all of you. Have a blessed day. Namaste.